Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and we are doing yet another tier list, and we are covering another class. We've taken a look at dragons, murlocs, beasts, and now we are looking at elementals. Quite a lot of elementals in Hearthstone history, about 100 to be exact, and should be an interesting look. But want to make one quick announcement before we start breaking down all these cards, is that every weekend going forward, so Saturday or Sunday, you can expect a tier list video. They seem to be very popular with everyone, seem to be enjoying them, so I'll keep providing them every weekend. You have an idea of when to see one coming up. And yeah, as long as they keep doing well, I'll keep making them, and they're a lot of fun to make. So let's rate 100 elementals from tier S to F, S being god tier, unbelievably good, auto-include in so many decks, and F being an utter failure. That why do they even bother making these cards? So we got a lot to go through. We're going to go through it relatively quick, as fast as we can, and let's get going. First off with Dust Devil. It's a 1-mana 3/1 Wind Fury elemental for Shaman, but you overload for 2, and this thing always dies on 1. Unbelievably garbage tier. When's the last time you saw someone play Dust Devil against you on ladder? It just doesn't happen. It's bad. We have Tar Creeper. 3-mana 1/5 Taunt on your opponent's turn, has +2 attack. Really cool anti-aggro card. You know, you get a Sinjin on 3, but when it's your turn, you don't really get the aggressive stat line, you just get the health. Was running some buff decks like Token Druid and stuff because it had high health, and while Mark of the lowest power of the wild it's pretty good, but overall was just a cool anti-aggro card that saw a lot of play and still sees a smidgen in wild. I'm going to give it an S. I just think it's a really well-designed card. It saw basically play its entire standard run, and just really cool. Arcane Tyrant is a 5-mana 4/4 neutral epic, and if you cast a spell that costs 5 or more, you get it for 0 mana. This typically mostly run in Druid because you had UI, Nourish, Starfall, all of that, and yeah, just good to cheat out an elemental. 0 mana 4/4 lets you cycle your UI pretty well, and even saw a little play in Spell Hunter where you Spellstone. Cool card, really good. Doesn't see a lot of play nowadays in Wild. There's just better options, but overall, I'll give it an A. Very strong, very strong. Neptulon is a 7-mana 7/7 legendary for Shaman. Battlecry adds 4 random Murlocs to your hand, and you overload for 2. Saw a decent amount of little play in GVG, I believe, but overall, just 7-mana 7/7 overload 2. Get a bunch of crappy Murlocs. Not usually worth the deal, and doesn't really see any play in Wild at all. I'm going to give it a high C, as it did see a tiny bit of play, but overall, pretty weak. We have Alar, 5-mana 7/3, so terrible stats, but the Death Rattle, you get a 0/3 egg, and if it lives, it will reborn Alar, so it's an infinite cycle. As long as the 0/3 egg lives, which almost never happens. I just can't ever justify this not being an F. It's really nice looking card. The animation's sick, but the card is garbage. It's just garb. It's an F. Then we have Shenvala, Mage Legendary. It's a 3-mana 2/5. And when you cast 3 spells or more, every 3 spells, you get a 5/5 elemental. It's basically a staple in Cyclone Mage. Has even seen play in Quest Mage from time to time. Very solid. The Snowball effect can be really good. You can cheat it out with Elemental Evocation. Very solid elemental. I'm going to give it a low A. Then we have Murmuring Elemental. It's a 2-mana 1/1 Shaman elemental that Battlecry, your next Battlecry triggers twice. Pretty much exclusively used to make sure your Shudderwalk doesn't whiff. Outside of that, it's just not really worth the effect. So I'll give it a low B, but I mean it's even been in my Shudderwalk Shaman list recently. It has its utility, but pretty underwhelming. Then we have Lyra Sunshard, 5-mana 3/5 Priest Legendary. Whenever you cast a spell, add a random priest spell to your hand. Infinite value. You go off with Radiant Elemental, it's insane. But hasn't seen a ton of wild play. It's just a bit expensive these days, but a very, very strong card. I will give it a high A. It would be S if it hadn't fallen off so much in recent years, but very strong card. Then we have Blaze Caller. It's a 7-mana 6/6 elemental, and if you played an elemental the prior turn, you deal 5 damage. That can go face to a minion. Okay, saw fringe play in elemental decks when people experimented with it. But overall, just having to play elementals the turn before has pretty much always been an issue with any of those cards, and the effect just never really warranted it. I'll give it a high C, but just really was never quite good enough. We have Thunderhead, 4-mana 3/6 Shaman Epic. After you play an overload card, anytime you overload, you get 2 1/1 eels with Rush. Very powerful card. It used to be a 3/5, and it was really good then. Now it's a 3/6. You can play even Shaman. You can play, like, it was in, like, Standard and Aggro Shaman, Evolved Shaman. Just tons of decks. Really good card. Again, a real high A type of card. Not quite S tier. Borderline. Don't get me wrong, but just not quite there. Not quite there. Then we have Magma Rager. The memeiest of all the elementals. Mainly because it's so freaking awful you would never play it. It dies to Moonfire. It's a piece of garbage. It's an F. And it's been power creeped a lot. A lot. But yeah. Sorry, Magma Rager. You don't make it. Then we have Genie of Zephyrus. This 5-mana 4/6 elemental. Whenever you cast a spell on another minion, you cast the spell on this guy too. So you can, like, double up on, like, Spike Ridge Steed or Blessing of Kings, or do priest stuff and do some really silly stuff. The card saw a lot of really weird play with certain combo-ish decks. Was a really cool card. Did really good stuff, but, like, overall never really saw meta play for the most part. But I'll give it a low B. It did see play in decks, and it's a really cool card, so we'll give it a B. But yeah, overall, Next, we have Hailbringer. It's a 5-mana 3/4 elemental. It summons 2 1/1s that will freeze a minion if it hits it, or an enemy or a hero if it hits it. And yeah, the stat's gonna suck. The 1/1s are really fragile and don't do a lot. Not a very good card. I don't think I've ever seen it pop up on a ladder deck, but it's okay in Arena. I picked it in Arena a couple times, so I'll give it a very low C, but borderline F, honestly. Then we have Mana Reservoir. It's a 2-mana 0/6 elemental. Like, what? Spell damage +1. Okay, I remember the only time I ever saw this see play was when Nomi was very popular, and you'd play 4 Nomis and Nomi Priest, and you'd use Mana Reservoir plus a Warpath to clear them. Yeah, that's not worthy of getting anything better than an F, sorry. Just garbage card. We have Arcane Servant, a 2-mana 2/3 elemental. Nothing else. It's River Croc, but, you know, it's an elemental. Sure. Then we have Mana Cyclone, 2-mana 2/2 Mage Epic. Battlecry after you cast a spell. After you play this, you add as many spells as you've cast that turn. Get random mage spells in your hand. Ridiculous in Quest Mage, good in Cyclone Mage. In Standard, just insanely busted card. Synergy with Elemental Evocation. It's a menace in Wild. It's done a lot of good stuff in Standard. It's an S tier elemental in my opinion. I keep keeping this card in my collection thinking it's going to get nerfed, but it just doesn't seem like it's ever going to get hit. Crazy card. Then we have Halaseal, the Ascended, I believe. 5-mana 4/6. When you cast any damage you cast on minions, you heal for that. It was like, you know, you Lightning Storm and you get a bunch of healing, or Elemental Destruction and you basically heal the full. Really cool card. Was good in some Control Shaman decks for the most part, but nothing really meta-defining, and it's fallen out of favor for just better spell. Like, you just run the 3-mana healing spells these days and it's better. I'll give it a B. Saw some play, but, you know, not amazing. We have Lightspawn. It's a 4-mana 0/5 elemental for Priest, and it has attack equal to health. I don't know. You get it off evokes. It could do some work in, like, Inner Fire Priest, but overall, not really worth it. Radiant Elemental. 2-mana 2/3 elemental. Your spells cost 1 less, so it's like Sorcerer's Apprentice, but for Priest with kind of arguably better stats. Yeah, that's an S tier elemental. It has been so good in so many decks, whether it's like old school Raza Priest, Combo Priest, Dragon Priest, Cloning Gallery Priest. It still sees play today in Standard or in Wild because it's just so good. Yeah, being able to cheat that with like Visions and Lyra and now Sethic, it's just an insane card that only gets better as time goes on as more spells are introduced. Broken elemental. Actually better than Cyclone in my opinion. And we have Glacial Shard, 1-mana 2/1, Battlecry, freeze an enemy. Very versatile card. Is seen play in like Shudderwock decks, seen play in Quest Rogue, just odd Demon Hunter, just to freeze Demon Hunters. Super strong card. It's actually kind of got to be an S. You never think something that underwhelming, but it's been in so many decks. It's been so good in so many different archetypes. I can't not give it an S. It's crazy. Then we have Grumble, the Earthshaker, World Shaker, not entirely sure. Battlecry, you put all the minions on the board, friendly minions on the board, into your hand, and they cost 1. So it's a 6 mana 7/7. That's really good stats. And the effect can be insane if you have Battlecry minions. And then, of course, the whole thing with Shudderwalk going infinite. Just a very, very powerful legendary. But not on its own. It's always, like, really good with other stuff. So we'll give it an A. We'll give it an A. But it's not quite, like, that meta-defining elemental. It wasn't until, like, Shudderwalk was made that it was really, really prominent in Standard. We have Shimmering Tempest, a 2/1, 2 mana 2/1 elemental for Mage. Death Rattle, add a random Mage spell to your hand. There's a better way of getting spells. This really, really barely ever saw me play. I'll give it a low C. Then we have Celestial Emissary. It's a 2 mana 2/1 elemental for Mage. Battlecry, your next spell this turn has spell damage +2. I saw a tiny bit of experimentation with it, but overall, just, like, it's not worth, like, you get one extra spell with spell damage +2. The body ain't great. Really weird jank combo card. There's just better ways of going about it. I'll put it with the old Tempest, same stat line. We have Firefly, 1 mana 1/2. Battlecry, add a flame elemental to your hand. This guy is just versatile as hell. It's just good to play on 1. You can use it on 2. You play both of them. Good on, like, Quest Rogue back in the day. Has elemental synergies, obviously, and just really well designed. It's like one of the best 1-drops ever that I've never been upset about. And that's saying something, because I get upset about everything. So I'm actually going to give it an S as well. Like, really well designed, fair, good card that never felt really oppressive, but just super strong. And then we have Bog Shaper, a 7 mana 4/8 minion. Whenever you cast a spell, draw a minion from your deck. I mean, it's a really big body and the effect's good, but it's expensive and I've never seen it play. I'm going to give it an F, sorry. It's in theory it's good, but just no, it's not. It's just not. We have Fire Elemental, 6 mana 6/5 for Shaman. Battlecry, deal 3 damage. Very strong elemental. Gladebound Adepts power creep this to hell in Demon Hunter, but what hasn't Demon Hunter power crap? Doesn't mean the card's not very good. It's been a staple in a ton of Shaman decks throughout the years. Not really good enough these days, but I'm still going to give it a low A just for how impactful it's been and how, like, good in Arena it is. Just a very, very solid card. Then we have Mountain Giant, a 12 mana 8/8 elemental, and it costs 1 less for each card in your hand. Staple of, like, Handlock, Conjurer's Mage. You would conjure this and get 2 12-drops, typically a Taunt. Super powerful card, like, just really good. It got Hall of Fame for a reason. It's been just powerful and really good for a very long time. Another S-tier elemental, very powerful. And I kind of miss it in Standard, honestly. We have Crystalline Oracle, 1 mana 1/1 Death Rattle. You get a random card from your opponent's deck. I mean, it's okay. Doesn't really see much play, but it was alright. It's off fringe play in, like, Death Rattle Priest. I'll give it like a medium C. We have Alakir, the Windlord. It's 8 mana 3/5 Wind Fury, Charge, Taunt with Divine Shield. A lot of keywords, and it has seen play here and there. It was like good with Earthenmight at times. You know, you got an Elemental out of it. Not a bad card. I'll give it a low A. Kind of like Fire Elemental. Always seems to pop up here and there. But again, not much these days, but good card nonetheless. Grave Shambler, the balanced version of Henchclan Thug, pretty much. It's a 4 mana 4/4. Whenever a weapon is destroyed, you gain +1/+1. Instead of just, attacking and getting a 4/4 immediately on 3 mana. Yeah. Never really saw the light of day. Kind of a fail. And then they, made Hedgeclan, and, well, that was insane. We have Pyros, 2 mana 2/2. Legendary for Mage. It has Death Rattle. It adds a 6/6 Pyros to your hand. And then when that dies, it adds a 10/10 Pyros to your hand. It's good value, but every body sucked. Like, the 2/2 sucks for 2 mana. The 6/6 sucks for 6 mana. And the 10/10 sucks for 10 mana. And yeah, if you give it Lifesteal with Jaina, it was okay, but none of them had, like, Rush, Taunt, anything. It's an okay value card. I'll give it a low B because it did see a good amount of play during its tenure, but overall was really lacking and not as, as good as some people might think it is, Then we have Fire Guard Destroyer, 4 mana 3/6 minion for Shaman. Battlecry gains 1 through 4 attacks, so pretty high variance. Overload 1. So you could have a 4 mana 7/6, which is pretty damn good, or you could have a 4 mana 4/6, which is not bad, but, you really kind of want that spike. It has seen play in aggressive Shaman decks pretty much since it's been introduced. Not the most popular of options, but it still pops up today. I'll give it a high B. It's a good card. I mean, at worst, it's a 4 mana 4/6, and that's still better than a Yeti, but there is overload implications, which can be a positive, but overall, just not quite good enough to be like a high caliber card. Then we have Electra Storm Surge, 3 mana 3/3, Battle Cry. Your next spell cast twice. Good in like Shudderwock Shaman. For the most part, you'd play it with like Farsight, get a bunch of cards for cheap. Pretty good, not amazing. I'll give it a B. Menacing Nimbus, 2 mana 2/2 elemental that adds a random elemental to your hand. Not bad. Again, saw a little bit of play. I'll give it a low B. It's, you know, a random generating card that can generate itself. Can't be that bad. Storm Chaser, 4 mana 3/4. Battle Cry, draw a spell from your deck that costs 5 or more. Good way of finding like AoEs and stuff like that. And it's kind of a staple in certain Shudderwock decks. Not as good as like some other Tutor cards, but not bad. We'll give it a medium B. Next, we have Steam Surger. It's a 4 mana 5/4. Mage Minion, Battle Cry. If you played it in Elemental last turn, add a Flame Geyser to your hand. And a Flame Geyser is a spell that deals 2 damage, and you add a Flame Elemental to your hand, which is the 1/2. Never really took off. Is okay. Premium stats with upside, but again, the whole playing an elemental thing the prior turn just never really worked out. But, you know, it wasn't terrible. I'll give it like a C. It's okay. Good arena card, I guess. Then we have Frozen Crusher. It's a 6 mana 8/8. Whoa. Good stats. After this minion attacks, freeze it. It is an arena card. Never, ever saw the light of day in ladder. Even at a 6 mana 8/8, can only attack once, and, you know, people are running hard removal, and it's just, it doesn't do anything when you play it. It's just not good enough. We'll give it a high F, a high fail. You know, not bad. Wax Elemental is a 1 mana 0/2 Taunt Divine Shield. Minion, it'd be an F if it wasn't for Quest Rogue, where it saw play because it became a 4/4 with Divine Shield. That's not bad. But other than that, I can't really ever recall this card seeing play, so we'll give it the lowest of C's. But yeah, it was in Quest Rogue. Kind of cool. We have Cloud Prince, 5 mana 4/4 Mage Minion. If you're controlling a secret, deal 6 damage, and that could go face. It's been in Secret Mage and Wild ever since it's been introduced, because it's a Fireball on a 4/4. It's ridiculous. In Standard, the Secret Mage support just hasn't been there its whole time, so hasn't really seen a ton of play. But regardless, I'm still going to give it an A, a low A, just because of how freaking good it is in Secret Mage. Then we have Calamos. It's an 8 mana 7/7 legendary for Shaman. And if you played an Elemental the prior turn, you got a bunch of effects. You could feel like you're bored with 1/1s. You could do an AoE. You could heal for a bunch, and you could like Fireball your opponent in the face. It was an okay card in certain Elemental Shaman decks, but Elemental Shaman was like tier 3, like at best. So I'll give it a B. It's a powerful card, don't get me wrong, but again, the Elemental package just never really panned out. We have Igneous Elemental. It's a 3 mana 2/3 Death Rattle. Add 2/1/2 Flame Elementals to your hand. It was put in Quest Rogue for a bit, and then they got better stuff to get the quest done. We'll give it a C. We have Unbound Elemental, 3 mana 2/4. Every time you play an Overload card, gain +1/+1. Yeah, decent card in Overload Shaman. Sees play here and there. For the most part, there's usually better options, but sometimes there's not, and he sees play, so I'll give him a B. We have Ice Walker, 2 mana 1/3 Mage Minion. Your hero power also freezes a target. Yeah, that's a fail. I've seen it in Arena, I guess, but not once on ladder. We have Benevolent Djinn, 3 mana 2/4 elemental for Paladin. Heal your hero for 3 at the end of your turn. I mean, there's just better healing options than Paladin. It wasn't terrible. I think I saw it play a little bit, but we'll give that a C. We have Snow Fury Giant, 11 mana 8/8 Giant for Shaman. Costs 1 less for each mana crystals you've overloaded this game. Overloading has never really been that big a positive, and to make this card, it never really worked. You could do it like the Spellstone and make a bunch of copies of it, but that was a meme deck at best. I'll give it a C as well. One of the worst Giants actually made. Arcane Amplifier, 3 mana 2/5 Mage Elemental. Your hero power deals 2 damage more, so 3 damage with a ping, or 4 if you're like odd mage. It's alright, not bad. Sees a little bit of play here and there, but overall, it's kind of a B. Next we have Ley Line Manipulator. It's a 4 mana 4/5 Mage Elemental. Premium stats, Battle Cry. If you're holding any cards that didn't start in your deck, they reduce their cost by 2. It's used in like some like garbage versions of Quest Mage. You could use it like Exodia Mage. But typically there's just better ways of comboing with this, and you could do stuff like Value Mage where you like hit Kazakus potions and do silly stuff. Not a bad card. It sees play here and there. I'll give it a low B as well, but not really the powerful card that a lot of people like myself thought it could be. Bonfire Elemental, 5 mana 5/5 Battle Cry. If you played an Elemental last turn, draw a card. look, compare this to Big Ol' Whelp, and it's kind of embarrassing. You have to play an elemental the prior turn. It's never the easiest, and then you're really forced into playing a 5-mana 5/5, just draw a card. Never really made the cut, but again, not really terrible, so we'll give it a C. Then we have Storm Watcher. It's a 7-mana 4/8 Wind Fury elemental. Saw a little bit of play in like Keleseth Rogue, Keleseth Temple Rogue. It was a really good target to Bone Bear. Raza Priest was really popular at the time, and they had a lot of problems targeting 4-attack minions. So you play this, you Bone Bear, and you just obliterate your opponent. But other than that, didn't see a ton of play, so I'll give it a high C, but it was a cool card. It's definitely not that bad. Then we have Fire Plume Harbinger. It's a elemental for Shaman, 2-mana 1/1. Battlecry, reduce the cost of elementals in your hand by 1. I mean, somewhat a combo enabler, but overall, like, really never a competitive card. 2-mana 1/1 that just mana cheats, just not enough. It's just not good enough. It's not good. It's an F. I don't want to hear it. And we have Stone Sentinel, 7-mana 4/4. If you played an elemental last turn, summon 2/2/3 elementals with Taunt, so you get like a Feral Spirits for free, but it's not really for free because you had to play an elemental in 7 mana. Too weak, not good enough. It saw very fringe play in Elemental Shaman, so I'll give it a very low C. Not quite a fail, but yeah. Quartz Elemental, 5-mana 5/8 minion for Priest. Can't attack while damaged, just garbage. Silence Priest never even used this. I've never seen it used competitively, just bad. Arcane Artificer, 1-mana 1/2 mage minion. You get armor equal to the amount of mana you spent on a spell. So you cast Blizzard to get 6 armor. It's good in like Freeze Mage and like Exodia Mage and stuff like that, where you didn't really have health gain. You had Ice Block, but that was it. Or Barrier, but this actually gave you proactive health. You got procced, you could actually gain armor on top of it. It's not bad. It was pretty good. It's kind of not really relevant anymore because like Freeze Mage and all that's kind of dead. But it was pretty solid. I'll give it a high B. I actually like the design of the card quite a bit. We got our staple in every list these days, Nightmare Amalgam. When's the last time you played that as an elemental? We'll give it a C. We have Tar Lurker, 5-mana 1/7 Taunt for Warlock. Similar design to Tar Creeper, but it was 2 mana more. And, I mean, Warlock just has way better taunt options, so we'll give it a C. Not really anything to write home about. Water Elemental, 4-mana 3/6. Classic card for Mage. Literally, part of the classic set. And the enemies that are attacked by this are frozen by it. So, you know, it's premium stats, good effect, and it sees play here and there. I'll give it a low A. It's kind of like in that Alakir territory, and especially like the prevalence of Demon Hunter. People even tech Water Elemental into their decks recently. So, you know, it's not too bad. Frost Elemental, 6-mana 5/5, Battlecry Freeze and minion. Yeah. I think Glacial Shard shows how insanely better this is. 1-mana 2/1, 6-mana 5/5, different effect. And you only get like an additional like 3 attack and 4 health. And this can actually freeze face. Yeah. Not quite good enough. Not bad by any means, but never really good enough. Then we have Cumulo Maximus. 5-mana 5/5. Battlecry. If you've overloaded mana crystals, deal 5 damage. I thought this would be really good. I've never seen it played. Really surprising. Huh. I guess Shaman sucks. I'll give it a C, just because I don't think it's like a fail. Effect's good, just literally never seen it played. Then we have the Druid Sandstorm card, the Sandstorm Elemental. 2-mana 2/2, Battlecry, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions, overload 1. It's really good in Quest Shaman. Even can run it in like Shudderwalk, stuff like that. It's a good AoE for that cost. Hell, I've even seen Shaman run it. Really solid card. I'm going to give it a low A. Doesn't see a ton of play now, but again, Shaman sucks. It's not that guy's fault. Then we have Walking Fountain, 8-mana 4/8 Shaman minion. Has Wind Fury, Rush, and Lifesteal. Really sick card. You can cheat it out and heal. Staple in like Big Shaman, certain Control Shaman decks. Just a good healing option. And if it sticks on board, well, it's going to heal more. It's like a threat you got to deal with. Really cool card. Really good. I'm going to give it an A as well. Then we have one of the newest gigantic minions, Elemental, Scrapyard Colossus. It's a 10-mana 7/7. And when it dies, you get another 7/7 Taunt. Really good. Good in like big decks, and that's about it, because you need to cheat it out, but yeah, it's a lot of Taunt, and sees a good amount of play in Wild, and the big decks are good enough in Standard to pop back up there too, I assure you of that. So I will give it a low A. It's done pretty well, and it's actually a card I predicted to do well that not many people did. I'm that smart. Let's disregard all the other ones I was wrong about. Then we have Molten Giant, 20 mana. 20 mana, how do you play that? Giant costs 1 less for each damage your hero has taken. So if you get down to 10 health, it costs 0 mana. Pretty good. Or if you play like that card, the legendary prints the call for Paladin, you can just play it immediately, and that's ridiculous. But it was nerfed to 25 mana at one point, and then when it's Hall of Famed, it was reverted back to 20 eventually. And yeah, it's good in like hand lock, staple and hand lock, even lock. Really cool card. You don't see it a lot these days in Wild, but it's too much of an icon for me not to give it an S. I'm putting it with Mountain Giant. It's not quite as good as Mountain Giant, but man, has that been a powerful card throughout the years in a ton of different decks. Then we have Firehawk. It's a 3-mana 1/3 elemental Battlecry. Gain +1 attack for each card in your opponent's hand. I guess you take that in Arena, but I'll still give it an F. Ragnaros, the Lightlord, one of my favorite cards of all time. 8 mana 8/8 restores 8 health to a random friendly target. Heal Insect was his voice line. Super flavorful. Loved it in my Anything Control Paladin back in the day. Doesn't see a lot of play now. There's better healing options, and plus you don't play Control Combo Shaman and Wild anymore. But I love it so much, I'm going to give it a low A. And that's personal bias, and I'm sticking to it because I don't care. We have Rumbling Elemental for Shaman. 4 mana 2/6. After you play a Battlecry minion, deal 2 damage to a random enemy. Never really took off. The Snowball effect is there, but the body sucked, and you got to combo it with other cards. Just not worth the effort. It's a low C. Just never really worked out. We got Mana Giant. Is a freaking... Oh, this card in Wild right now with Quest Mage. 8 mana 8/8 costs 1 less for each spell you have cast this game that did not start in your hand. Not each spell, each card. So if you got a random minion or whatever. Yeah, really good in Quest Mage. You even see it in like Cyclone Mage in Standard. Turns out cheating out 0 mana giants that you can Conjurer's Calling or just play and take an extra turn is ridiculous. Super powerful card. Definitely an S tier card. Like, really up there. Then we have Zephyrus. It's an elemental if you didn't know. 2 mana 3/2 Battlecry. If your deck is containing no duplicates, wish for the perfect card basically. And yeah, you get your Brawl, you get your Tyrion, you get your Temple Enforcer, you get all the crazy stuff. It's so good in Highlander decks, and you run it in decks that also just hard cycle, like my Dead Man's Hand Warrior lately. The strongest elemental ever made, bar none. God tier, SS quality, just ridiculously good. We have Whirlwind Tempest, 8 mana. 8 mana 6/6. Your minions with Wind Fury have Mega Wind Fury. Sometimes you high roll this off like an 8-drop Conjurers and you get it with Alakir, and that's crazy. That's about the extent of it. It's an F. We have Fire Plume Phoenix, 4 mana 3/3 elemental. Battlecry, deal 2 damage. It's like SI Agent without having to combo, but it costs 1 more. Not bad, not great. Saw a bit of play in Standard, and a really good Arena card. We'll give it a medium to high B. We have Bog Slosher, a Shaman minion, 3 mana 3/3 Battlecry. You bounce a minion back to your hand and give it +2/+2. Was really popular in Quest Shaman for a while, and in some like Shutterwalk decks here and there. Overall, it's okay. It's a low B. It was like anti-tempo, a little bit of greed, but nothing spectacular. You have Volatile Elemental, 2 mana 1/1 Death Rattle, deal 3 damage to a random enemy minion. Arena card, not a ladder card, kind of just low, high F. You have Surging Tempest, 1 mana 1/3 Shaman Elemental, has +1 attack when you have overloaded mana crystals. So this is a staple still in like aggro Shaman that does exist in Standard, and you know it's Tunnel Trog, but a lot more balanced. So he's all right. I'll give him a B. He sees play here and there, but only in Standard. and Wild, not even close. We got Ragnaros, the Firelord, 8 mana 8/8, deal 8 damage to a random enemy. This guy got Hall of Fame. He's been like so many decks throughout the year. Still pops up in like Big Priest and other decks like that to this day. Yeah, he's an S tier elemental. Too damn good. Too flavorful. How can you not put Rag up there? Just insane. Baron Geddon, 7 mana 7/5. At the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to all targets, including yourself, the enemy hero, and minions. It's good against like Shaman, token decks, stuff like that. It's really fallen off. There's just better options. It's a 7 mana 7/5 in 2020. I'll give him a B for all the play he's seen over the years, but man, he's kind of taken a nosedive off a cliff with all the power creep going on. Servant of Calamos, 5 mana 4/5 elemental. Battlecry, if you played an elemental turn, the prior turn, discover another elemental. I'll give it a C. Saw a little bit of play, but nothing crazy. We have Arcane Devourer, 8 mana 5/5. Yikes. Better be good. Whenever you cast a spell, gain +2/+2. Good God, no. I'll just play Questing Adventure instead and just you know, win like that. It's a really low C. That's brutal. We have Violet Spellwing, 1 mana, 1/1, Death Rattle, add Arcane Missiles to your hand, staple in Quest Mage and Wild. Doesn't see much play in Standard, but very solid, good value. We'll give it a high B, just because it really only does see play in one deck in Wild. Quest Mage, that's it. We have Quicksand Elemental, 2 mana, 3/2, so premium stats, and it gives all minions -2 attack this turn. I've never seen it see play. The card's potentially really good, but there's just never been a home for it. So I'll give it a C. It's not bad, just literally never seen it played. Kind of weird. Then we have Azurite Elemental, 5 mana, 2/7 at the start of your turn, so that's to survive till the start of your turn. Gain spell damage +2. Yikes. That's never going to work. Ever. We have Hot Spring Guardian, 3 mana, 2/4 Taunt, Shaman minion. Battle Cry, restore 3 health. So, you could put it in like an elemental deck. I mean, it's alright. It's a little bit of play, but not enough to really warrant anything special. Give it a high C. And then we have Cauldron Elemental. Again, I don't even remember these being cards. 8 mana, 7/7. Your other elementals have +2 attack. Like, good God. Why? No. F. Then we have Tarlord. The other Tar Creeper-ish type card. 7 mana, 1/11. And then it gains plus like 5 attack. I think 5 attack. It's 5 attack. It's 4 attack on your opponent's turn. Man, when you have a 7 mana minion that only does 1 attack, it feels even bad in Warrior. It's not playing like a couple of like Quest Warriors, but even then, it was better taunts. Like, it was okay. I'll give it a C, but yeah, it can hang out with the Warlock guy. Just not really worth the cut. With Air Elemental, 1 mana, 2/1 Elemental, can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. Never any good. Dies to like everything. We have Anomalous, an 8 mana legendary minion for Mage. It was an 8/6 Death Rattle, deal 8 damage to all minions. This guy comes up when you like conjure and clear your own board and you're pissed off, or your opponent evolves into it and they clear their own board and they're pissed off. This card's a troll card. It's a great F for when it gets summoned, but man, you're never putting that in your deck. With Ice Rager, straight up power creep, a Magma Rager. It's a 3 mana 5/2, and it still didn't really see play. So I'll put it with Magma Rager. They're both Fs, but he's got 1 more health, so he's a bit better. We have Soldier of Fortune, 4 mana 5/6, so overstatted. Whenever this minion attacks, give your opponent a coin. Yeah, you never want to do that. That's an F. Then we have Siamot, 7 mana 6/6 legendary. Battlecry, you get to choose 2 things. You either get Rush, Divine Shield, Taunt, or Wind Fury, so you get to pick 2 of those. Very commonly, Divine Shield Rush. Very, very strong elemental that has seen play since it's been introduced in both Standard and Wild. Very versatile. Everyone's like, oh, it's Ziliax version 2. It's so good. Not quite as good as Ziliax, where it's in like every deck, but it's still, to me, an S-tier elemental. Very strong, very versatile, very good card. We have Earth Elemental, 5 mana 7/8 Taunt for Shaman. Overload 3. That Overload just kills it. Just the second it gets hard removed, it's brutal. We'll give it a low C. We have this Mage minion you probably saw for like a week when it came out, and that's it. It's Animated Avalanche. This is 7 mana 7/6 Elemental for Mage. And if you played an Elemental last turn, you summon a copy of it. So in theory, it's a 7 mana 14/12. But again, it doesn't do anything when you play it, and you have to play an Elemental a prior turn. And again, that's always been awkward. I will give it a low C, a C. It's not terrible, but it's not good enough. It's just, yeah. Then we have Marsh Spawn, 3 mana 3/4 Elemental for Shaman. Battlecry, if you cast a spell last turn, discover a spell. It's not bad. Shaman just blows, and you're not playing this in Wild because there's more degenerate stuff to do. But this guy could pop up in the near future if Shaman ever gets a good way of winning a damn game. So give him a high C just because, you know, he's kind of in that range. He's not bad, but again, doesn't pop up. Then we have like Arcanosaur from Mage. Oh god, 6 mana 3/3. Battlecry, again, if you played an Elemental last turn thing, just never works. Deal 3 damage to all their minions. So it's like Dustbreaker for 2 mana more and way more conditional and frustrating. Yeah, freaking awful. It's an F. I just no. Cosmic Anomaly, 4 mana 4/3 Mage Elemental, spell damage +2. Really good card. You could play it in like Burn Mage. It was like Tempo Mage. Tons of Mage decks ran this in Standard when it was there, and it's kind of fallen out. It doesn't really see play anymore, but it was very strong. I mean, it's a good body. Spell damage and Mage is really sick. I'll give it a high B. It was a really good card. Oasis Surger is like the quest druid elemental, basically. It's a 5-mana 3/3 with Rush, and you got to choose one. It either got +2/+2, or you summon a copy of it. So if the quest is active, you got 2 5/5s with Rush, and even if your quest isn't active, it's still a 6/6 with Rush split across 2 bodies, or a 5/5. It wasn't bad. Really good elemental. Like, it was the only reason quest druid was pretty much any good for the most part, because, well, 5-mana 10/10 Rush on curve is ridiculous. But it's fallen off quite a bit, and, you know, it's like never seen play in Wild. So I can't quite give it an S, but I'll give it a high A. Then we have Ozruk. Yeah, that's basically my rating for it. Laughter. Holy shit. 9-mana 5/5 Taunt gains +5 health for every elemental you play the last turn. Sure, I guess you could do some flame elemental shenanigans. And then everyone runs silence or some answer to it. Like, no. No, Ozruk, no. Mana Geode, a 2-mana 2/3 priest minion. Whenever this is healed, you get a 2/2. I mean, it's premium stats upside, but it's garb. Then we have a newer card that recently got buffed to a 5/6, which is Shattered Rumbler. It's a Shaman minion. It's a 5-mana 5/6. If you cast a spell last turn, deal 2 damage to all their minions. It got buffed. I still have never seen it played. Premium stats, good upside, and not that hard to do, but Shaman sucks. So I gotta give it a C. You'll probably see play at some point, but right now, not at all. Arcane Anomaly, it's a 1-mana 2/1. Every time you cast a spell, gain +1 health. Never really seen it play. Sometimes see it get randomly and then do stupid stuff, but I'll gotta give it an F too. It's just not good enough. And then we have Living Dragon Breath, 3-mana 3/4. Your minions can't be frozen. It's a decent tech card when Mage is really popular and you don't want your minions to get Frost Nova'd. But outside of that, that's about it. So we'll give it a C, because I have seen it pop up. We have Jade Spirit. It's a 4-mana 2/3. Summon Jade Golem. Doesn't really see play anymore, because it's just Jade stuff. Like, that kind of Jade plan doesn't work. But back in the day when Jade Druid was really good, this guy was a staple in it. You could play it in, like, Jade Quest Shaman or Jade Rogue as well. It can fit in there, but mostly saw playing Jade Druid. We'll give it a low B. It just doesn't really see much play. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is every elemental in Hearthstone history rated S through F. Let me know in the comments below. Do you agree, disagree? What are your favorite elementals? Where did I go horribly wrong? All of that. Always fun to have that debate. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. I've noted that like 75% of my viewers aren't subscribed, so if you feel like I've earned your sub, I would really appreciate it. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.